I think Dubois is going to be a much more dangerous protagonist this time for the world title. It's incredible to think that it's less than 2 years ago that he fought Oleksandr Usyk for the first time in Poland.
We have to design a game plan that no one's ever designed before. Mother of all game plans to beat this special, unique fighter. And I believe we are able to do that, and the fighter is able to execute the game plan.
The stage is set for a high-stakes heavyweight showdown as Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois prepare to clash once again. Both are stronger, hungrier, and ready to settle the score, while boxing pros are divided on their fighter's side. Starting from the famous journalist Gareth Davies, who thinks Daniel Dubois is a lot more dangerous and improved now from the time he fought Oleksandr Usyk in Poland 2 years ago. He remembers being at the first fight and thinks Dubois boxed really well in the first rounds, even adding that the controversial low blow incident may have changed the momentum in Usyk's favor.
I think Dubois is going to be a much more dangerous protagonist this time for the world title. It's incredible to think that it's less than 2 years ago that he fought Oleksandr Usyk for the first time in Poland. I was there with TalkSport and the Telegraph that night. He put up a terrific fight for 5 rounds. I think it was a low blow. I think Usyk took over in the fight after that. Daniel Dubois is a different person now. Daniel's shown that he can carry a Wembley Stadium event. He was brilliant against Anthony Joshua last September. I still think Usyk wins. The clever money is still on Usyk.
Since then, Dubois has grown significantly. He can handle the pressure of major events, especially with his impressive performance in the recent fights. With all the progress that Dubois has made and the potential he is now displaying, Davies thinks Usyk still has the upper hand as he is more able, more experienced, and decisive. But they admit that Dubois is a much bigger threat than he was last time. Building on that, Simon Jordan clearly supports Daniel Dubois going into his rematch with Oleksandr Usyk. He says that there is no bias, but he seriously feels it is Dubois' time. He praises Dubois for being aggressive and powerful, a ferocious beast and a gladiator, especially for how he comported himself at Wembley Stadium.
I said it to Oleksandr Usyk, and there's no favoritism here. I think it's Daniel Dubois' time. I think he's a ferocious
I have to agree with
beast. Yeah, absolutely. and I think he deserves all the plaudits. I think what walked into Wembley Stadium was an absolute gladiator, and I'm thrilled for him that he's coming out of himself, growing as a man, becoming more worldly and able to communicate with the media, and I think it's going to be a fabulous fight.
Do you believe that he can get it done inside the distance?
I think he has to get done inside the distance.
Yeah. You don't think he can win on points?
I think it's unlikely.
Yeah.
I think it's unlikely. But whatever, July 19th, brilliant fight.
He is also impressed with Dubois' personal growth, maturing, becoming more confident, and more aware of the media surrounding him. He is optimistic that the fight will be great and have high stakes. Jordan predicted that a knockout is Dubois' best and possibly only feasible way to win. On the other hand, Don Charles, Daniel Dubois' trainer, is confident in Dubois' punching power, and he wants everyone to know it's on a completely different level. In his words, Dubois' power is freakish and almost immeasurable. Even as a big man himself, weighing 130 kilos and over 280 pounds, Don says he can usually take hits, but what he feels when Dubois lands punches is something else entirely. There's a density and force behind the punches that feels unnatural, even through pads and protective gear.
Yeah, the power is unmeasurable, freakish power, and it's got this density to it. I've only taken it on the pads, and I know I'm a big man, I'm 130 kilos, and I can take hits, and he feels different. That's all I can say to you. And I've got a body kit that he hits as well. I mean, God knows what's going on the inside of me. It's not advisable. Do not try this at home. Body kit and let Daniel Dubois hit you to the body. Do not try this at home.
Consequently, Don Charles isn't just hyping a rematch, he's sounding the alarm that this is not the same Daniel Dubois who faced Oleksandr Usyk the first time. Back then, Don had only been in Dubois' corner for 3 short months, barely enough time to scratch the surface, let alone build a world-class fighter. And still, he says Dubois gave Usyk serious problems early on. He won the half fight, so this time he will win the full fight.
Currently, this Usyk and Dubois, it's the biggest fight in world boxing. He's a young lad. People forget how young Daniel Dubois is. He's now 27, so when he had that fight, he was 25 years old. Okay, and he went out to Poland, represented, delivered what we believe, what we'd been rehearsing. Like you said, we'd only been together 3 months prior to that first encounter. Nevertheless, he won the first half of the fight and Usyk won the second half, if there's any such thing. You get that in football, but you don't get it in boxing, unfortunately.
Fast forward to now, and Don's message is clear. You're going to see a completely different beast. After facing Usyk for the first time, Dubois knows his weak points, and the plus point is that he is now well aware of his opponent. His trainer honestly said Dubois has grown physically, mentally, and tactically. He's no longer a raw talent finding his feet. He's a refined powerhouse who's been sharpened through elite-level fights and big stage experience. Wins over Anthony Joshua, Filip Hrgovic, and Big Baby Miller haven't just built his resume, they've hardened his mindset and sharpened his tools.
How is he improved?
Where do I start? There's so many in terms of...
In what department?
In every department, physically, mentally, technically, and as a human being, he's grown up. He's done a lot of growing up, you know, so there's so many factors that adds to what the Daniel Dubois that you're seeing today.
We can see that, Don. It's there for all to see. From where he was back in the summer of 2023, you'd had him only for really 5 minutes.
However, Don Charles passionately breaks down why this is Daniel Dubois' moment and why the fighter stepping into the ring with Oleksandr Usyk this time is nothing like the young man who faced him in 2023. Even so, Dubois managed to hold his own in the early rounds. But now you're dealing with a completely evolved fighter. Don says Dubois has grown in every department, physically stronger, technically sharper, mentally tougher, and even more mature as a person.
He's a different guy. He's mature psychologically. He's right now. He's an incredible physical specimen, but I think it's mentally that he's really got it. And at 27, this is the opportunity now. This is the right time for this fight.
I would say so. I really would say so. I see the kid day in, day out. There's so much more that the public haven't actually seen, because you second this opinion, Spencer. What you teach the athlete, let's say what I taught him just under 2 years ago, it's only just now gotten into his system. So you see little increments of improvement from the Miller fight to the Hrgovic to the AJ fight.
But Don doesn't downplay the challenge ahead. He calls Usyk a special fighter, a unique talent. Still, his confidence in Dubois is unwavering. He's seen the evolution up close, day in, day out, and he knows this version of Dubois is ready to shock the world.
And when he actually fought Usyk, who's a southpaw.
He deployed.
Absolutely. So now, and we didn't get to showcase the next level of improvement for the Parker fight, which we pulled out, unfortunately, through illness. So in a way, when I say I'm glad that if you're studying Daniel Dubois, you would study him up to the Anthony Joshua fight. You wouldn't have seen the next thing he would have done in the Parker fight.
Yeah.
So in a way, it hurts me that we pulled out. It hurts the fighter that we had to pull out. But now people having said that, Usyk is a different proposition.
Sure.
And here is the valid fact given by former professional boxer Tony Bellew, who did not hold back on a possible Usyk versus Dubois rematch, and he's definitely in Usyk's corner. Bellew makes the point here that Oleksandr Usyk is the heavyweight. He's the name, the fighter that everybody wants to fight.
That's right.
And these guys need him. He doesn't need them. No. Oleksandr Usyk can choose to fight whoever he wants. He is now the draw in the heavyweight division. He is the big name. Yeah. And I take my hat off to Anthony Joshua, I take my hat off to Tyson Fury, because they had the cojones to face him, as did Daniel Dubois. But let's not get away from anything. Daniel Dubois fought him once, and we've seen how that fight went. Yeah. Everyone goes on about a shot. Let's just be brutally honest, it hit the protector.
Adding on, Bellew says that there are fighters like Daniel Dubois who are chasing Usyk not because they're a better fighter, but because they understand where the money and prestige are. Usyk doesn't need them, they need Usyk.
Why is it called a protector? Because it protects you from certain shots. Was it like... Did anyone look at the belt line of Tyson Fury before the fight?
It was high, wasn't it? Yeah, it was, really high.
I was going to ask what's the neck on them shorts. But
sure.
It was nuts. But no one said anything.
No.
But then ultimately when Oleksandr Usyk fights Daniel Dubois and his shorts are on his navel and you can clearly see his belly button at times in the fight, No one set all of a sudden is short to high. So it's whatever suits people's narrative and agendas at the time.
And at the end of the day, Bellew reminds everybody how that fight ended. Dubois on one knee, unable to go on. No excuses, no controversy, just facts. Bellew says Usyk has already proven he's levels above Dubois in skill. Therefore, any talk of a rematch is really only hype anyway. Despite this, Lennox Lewis, the legendary former heavyweight champion, offers an insightful take on how he would approach a fight with Oleksandr Usyk, and he points out major potential weaknesses in Usyk's style. All things considered, he began by identifying the uppercut as a key weapon, called it one of his signature punches, and suggested that Usyk shows a clear vulnerability to shots up the middle. In Lewis's view, exploiting that opening could be decisive in shifting the momentum of a fight against the elusive Ukrainian southpaw.
Oh, well, if you fought Usyk, what would you do? I would say, well, you know, I'd throw a good uppercut because he's susceptible to uppercuts, and I throw a mean uppercut. And that's how I would definitely fight the fight.
Do you think he's vulnerable to the body?
Well, anybody that's vulnerable to the body, and everybody's saying it, usually goes back and works on the body and says, like, I make them think I'm vulnerable to the body. That's what I want them to think. Now my body's tough, and if they go to the body, I'm gonna hit them at the same time.
Lennox Lewis has backed Daniel Dubois to gain revenge over Oleksandr Usyk and become the undisputed heavyweight champion. Lewis will be a keen observer when Usyk and Dubois clash for a second time on July 19th at Wembley Stadium. Dubois, who was stopped by Usyk in 9 rounds in August 2023, has been resolute in his beliefs that he should have been awarded the victory after flooring his rival, only for the referee to call a low blow. And Lewis has backed his countryman to avenge his defeat. Lennox Lewis said, "I'm thinking he's ready. He's been through the trials and tribulations. He's the Kingslayer. He's got the power. He's been there before. He was just there. He knocked Usyk down, so he knows what he needs to do." He further advised Daniel Dubois on how to fight with Oleksandr Usyk. Lennox Lewis pointed out an often overlooked detail in Oleksandr Usyk's defensive mastery, his control over head punches. According to Lewis, if Daniel Dubois wants a real shot at victory in the rematch, he should focus less on headhunting and more on strategic bodywork and uppercuts.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you was training Daniel Dubois, what would you be telling him? What would the advice you'd be giving him going into this?
Probably to start with your jab, keep your head moving, you know, don't get hit by jabs, you know, and go out there and box your fight.
In their previous fight, Dubois showed moments of danger by actually knocking Usyk down. This makes their upcoming rematch especially intriguing because Dubois has since improved significantly physically, mentally, and technically.
Daniel Dubois still throws that that left hand like he's throwing across, really. He still attacks with that shot. Could that be an advantage?
It's going to be the difference if that happens. I mean, if you allow a man to get through with the jab and get through with the right cross, you know, it's really up to Anthony Joshua to protect against that. And, you know, he's got a good trainer in his corner. Let's see if them guys can do that.
I mean, both guys have relatively new trainers and they both rebuilt.
In addition to that, one of the biggest keys to their fight is the jab. Dubois is known for having a powerful jab, possibly even harder than Anthony Joshua's, and he must use it effectively to disrupt Usyk's rhythm. Usyk, on the other hand, is a master at controlling distance and neutralizing punches aimed at his head, making it tough to land clean shots there.
Yeah, and I was listening to Richie Woodall actually in the build-up to this, and he was talking about that jab, and you know, who establishes that first, maybe dominates the fight because the right hand is key for both of these guys. Yeah. But Richie actually said that Daniel's got the hardest jab he's ever felt, including Joshua.
Wow. Well, it all starts with the jab. Like for me, you know, if you go out there and hit a guy with the jab, you know what the guy's gonna do? Say, I don't like this jab, and he's gonna protect against it. When he protects against it, that's when you start throwing the right hand.
When it comes to the trainers behind Daniel Dubois and Oleksandr Usyk, the edge often goes to the one who can not only devise the best strategy, but also mentally connect with their fighter. Success will be the fighter's ability to listen and learn, and the challenge is how well the trainer's game plan and messages get through to the fighter in the course of the fight.
You know, I always like the mental guy, the guy that can get in your head. You know, both of them are good trainers. You can't go against any of them. You know, they're both worked hard to be where they're at. And it's really getting the message across to the fighter.
and the fighter actually listening to your message. You know, you can't be a trainer and you're going in there in a big fight and your boxer's not listening to you. So you have to make sure that your boxer gets that attention. You listen to me, listen to instruction. I'm the guy on the outside. I'm the guy seeing what you can't see. So you have to listen to me. So it's the better listener.
The strategy for Dubois is to start strong with his jab, keep moving his head to avoid counters, and force Usyk to react. If Dubois can do this, he can open Usyk up for bigger shots like right hands, hooks, and uppercuts. Usyk's ability to slip punches and counters makes him dangerous, but Dubois' aggression and power mean the fight could be very competitive. In contrast, Carl Froch has given a detailed breakdown of the rematch between Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois. This much anticipated heavyweight clash is a rerun of their first contest in August 2023. Dubois was much greener then, but still did well and had Usyk down from a shot, although it was ruled low. Usyk rallied and got the knockout win in the 9th round and has since beaten Tyson Fury twice to become undisputed champion. Therefore, Usyk rallied and got the knockout win in the 9th round and has since beaten Tyson Fury twice to become undisputed champion. He relinquished the IBF for the second fight, and Dubois picked it up with a knockout win over Filip Hrgović, then defended it with a knockout of Anthony Joshua last time out in September. Froch is evaluating Daniel Dubois' current performance as a boxer. They point out that while Dubois seemed uncertain in his earlier fight, he has since improved significantly. He has defeated Anthony Joshua, performed well in a couple of matches against Jarrell Miller, and impressed in a fight against Filip Hrgović. Based on these recent performances, the speaker believes Dubois has become a dominant and powerful fighter, and that his progress reflects how quickly things change in the sport. Finally, he gave his prediction and sided with the unified champion. He said, "It's exciting, good fight, you've got to make Usyk the favorite, but it's a fight Dubois can win. I don't think Usyk should keep fighting. If I was gonna put a percentage on it, I would say it's closer to even, but I give Usyk the edge, 55-45%. The fight takes place on July 19th at Wembley Stadium, with the winner due to face WBO mandatory Joseph Parker. Moreover, boxing host Dev Sani didn't hold back when breaking down the heated build-up to the much-anticipated Usyk vs Dubois rematch, and according to him, something's changed. Oleksandr Usyk, usually cool, calm, and calculated at pressers, finally spoke out. For once, Usyk bit back.
I can imagine as we get closer to fight night now, that low blow stuff's going to be left now. It feels like it was done at that presser and the surrounding media days, but now it's going to be about this new version of Daniel Dubois. But back to Usyk, he had to talk. He was forced to engage at that press conference. Very interesting. Will it make any difference at all to the fight? Well, Don Charles, I've heard him talk about mental warfare at a press conference can have an impact. He believes it, probably why he went after Usyk at that presser. Does Usyk believe it? Does Usyk care? Is he stewing over it now? Has it motivated him more? Has it angered him? Is that good or bad for Daniel Dubois? I can't wait to find out.
On the other hand, Dev points out that this is rare behavior from Usyk and wonders whether the pressure, the controversy, and the trash talk are starting to get to him. Trainer Don Charles thinks the mental warfare might just be working, but the big question is, did Usyk let it get under his skin, or did it only light a fire in him?
I think he'll know that he can hurt him, and yeah, he does want to move on from the low blow. I think there's a collective understanding that, you know, that was something that happened, right? The controversy around that is something that happened, and it's a story heading into the rematch, but it's kind of been done now, and Daniel knows now that 2 years later he's a different guy. He's 3 wins later, he's the along with Usyk, the form heavyweight in the world, and Parker as well, of course.
Meanwhile, Daniel Dubois is coming in like a man possessed. 3 consecutive stoppage wins, 3 career best performances, a fighter reborn. Dev says this isn't the same Daniel who fought Usyk the first time. Mentally, physically, and emotionally, this is a whole new beast.
But Daniel's 3 back-to-back stoppage wins, the 3 best wins of his career, has him mentally in a whole different place, and I think he just believes that he's going to knock Oleksandr Usyk out because he's ready to.
And when it comes to that infamous low blow from the first bout, Dev believes Dubois has put it behind him. He's laser focused, battle tested, and most importantly, convinced he can end Usyk's reign. Dev says he's in a whole different place now, and I think he genuinely believes he's going to knock Usyk out. But Oleksandr Usyk enters the ring with cold, calculated precision, a true master of movement and mind. He's dominated the cruiserweight division and now has his sights set on total heavyweight supremacy. When Usyk moves, it's not just boxing, it's a strategic masterpiece in motion, and he's coming to seal his legacy at the very top.
I'm undisputed from Ukraine, Oleksandr Usyk.
On the other hand, Oleksandr Usyk's training camp is nothing short of a masterclass in discipline, precision, and preparation. As fight night approaches, Usyk is fully committed to preserving the lightning-fast dexterity and razor-sharp accuracy that have defined his reign as champion. Every day is a grind, combining rigorous conditioning, technical skill development, and meticulous strategic planning to ensure he remains a step ahead of his opponent. Likewise, Usyk's cool, composed exterior masks an intense inner fire. In the gym, he is relentlessly fine-tuning his legendary footwork with drills designed to enhance agility and balance, while sharpening his tactical instincts through high-level sparring sessions. This is not just physical training, it's a mental battle to prepare for every possible scenario inside the ring. The first fight sparked controversy. This one could ignite chaos. Oleksandr Usyk, the undefeated chess master of the ring. Daniel Dubois, the power-punching phoenix, rebuilt, recharged, and is ready for revenge. Dubois floored AJ. He crushed Hrgovic. But Usyk, he's not just fighting to win, he's fighting to cement a legacy. Can Daniel Dubois finish what he started and stop Usyk this time? Who's got the better corner, Don Charles or Usyk's camp? If Dubois lands clean early, does Usyk survive? Drop your predictions in the comments. Who are you backing, Dubois or Usyk?